Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to Spawn's Alley, where we cover Spawn's new expanded universe. So, if you love all things Spawn, please make sure you subscribe, like, and leave us a comment. I'm your host, Brian, and today we'll be diving into the first issue of Scorched. And remember, number one issues are usually quite long, so make sure you stick around. Alright, let's open up issue number one. We open somewhere in Russia on a mission that Spawn is unaware of. Spawn didn't give any of them consent to do this, but it didn't matter. They banded themselves together regardless, and right now their goals are twofold. First, extract Plague Spawn. The second is to make sure the two girls in front of Jessica Priest don't die. Gunslinger takes charge. Get them on their feet, Jessica. A military squad approaches the team of Spawns, and Jessica's the first to jump the window, escaping with the two girls. Medieval Spawn follows, but Gunslinger questions to why they're not going after Plague Spawn, like Jessica had told him. We go back to a week to explain how three Spawns and Redeemer ended up together. It all started near the Gate of Wolves. Spawn wanted it to be a quiet, covert mission. Instead, She-Spawn invited some big hitters to come along. A man is shouting that they have received confirmation on the Pharaoh Spawn, that Kincaid was correct, and the new Bible will soon be written, and that everyone will see. But within seconds of finishing his sentence, he takes a shot to the head. Jessica is staring down the rest of the people as she stands side by side with Redeemer, Medieval Spawn, and Spawn himself. None of you will be alive to read a single fucking page on it. Alright, Jessica, you put this party together, so start leading it. Guns start firing off, and Redeemer comes soaring in, and Medieval Spawn begins his march down the room as he takes fire. Medieval slices the man in half with his axe. Redeemer uses his wings to decapitate the man, and She-Spawn shoots one man at a time with her rifle. Spawn grabs a handgun from She-Spawn, finds a room, and grabs a woman. You, this is a secret cell base, isn't it? She responds by telling Spawn that they are off the grid. Then no one will miss you. Medieval and She-Spawn look alarmed and question Spawn. Take your gun, clean the place up, and wait for me. She-Spawn in shock asks Spawn why they need to clean it up for. Because this is going to be your new home. And at this point is when She-Spawn and Medieval Spawn realize they got kicked out of Spawn's sanctuary. Mark seems to be the only one cleaning up, and both Jessica and Redeemer acknowledge that Spawn still has no idea that Mark is Medieval Spawn. Redeemer and Jessica begin to take a walk together. They both begin to talk about their plans and how Redeemer just wants to find Reaper, but Jessica lets him know she's working on building a team that will help him lead him to Reaper. Mark puts on the medieval mask. Sacrifice. That's what you're attempting to convey to the Angelic One? We've each had to sacrifice things we held dear to ourselves. We've each lost something, but no more. We've all suffered enough. This war, all this, needs to stop. That is what we have at stake. We all need to remember what we each lost. It was your child, Jessica. Your future, Redeemer. For me, it was my humanity. We jump to Wyoming where we find Gunslinger in his final stance against Locust Rangers. They have been tracking Gunslinger for days, inflicting injuries to him with each encounter. One of the Locust Rangers wanted to send a direct message to Gunslinger in form of a bug. Lets him know that everyone knows he's a weak Spawn and just to give up. Gunslinger crushes the bug, gets up and prepares himself for a duel as he only sees 3 Rangers. Gunslinger jumps out of the window, guns blazing, but he is no match for the 3 Rangers. They remind him that Spawn is busy hunting down an amateur cult, not realizing there's a bigger war to fight. Gunslinger lets them know that they made one fatal mistake, that he is not here for Spawn, but for more personal reasons, and promises them he's even angrier than Spawn himself as he rips them apart. Jessica approaches Gunslinger, but before she could even say a word, he cuts her off and says, "No." Meanwhile, all the locusts from all the bodies are reconstructing into a whole that is much worse than its parts. The locusts have emerged as one big monster standing stories high. Spawns fear nothing and begin the onslaught. They have left the locust monster up in flames and defeated. Gunslinger wants to send a clear message. If anyone wants to come after us, we'll burn every one of them. Jessica looks over to Gunslinger and asks if he's joining. Spawn giving the orders? She lets him know that he knows nothing about this. Then, let's go to Russia. By the way, I give us a name they'll come to fear. That's how the Scorched came together, but Russia would be the beginning of how they began to fall apart. The question is why, an orphan from the eastern border, she and others have been staging protests throughout the country. Of late, she and her partner Natasha Corky have gone into hiding. The Russian army is fanning the city looking for their location. Unverified entity matches description of Plague Spawn. Witness to surveillance. Military presence has grown in the past 2 months. Visual presence battalions have increased and cartel squads are patrolling the streets in many towns. A show of force along the Russian border is being built upon. Colonel Khrushchev, 32-year career with the Kremlin, oversaw massacres in Afghanistan and Iraq during the covert missions throughout the Eastern Bloc. The night is quiet, serene. It allows these runaways a rare chance to find a few hours of peace, until a death squad shatters their dreams. But why? What's so important about these young misfits? These are just outcasts trying to survive another day. Or are they? This is how it goes in much of the world. People chasing the streets without a soul daring to come to their aid, because the people know all too well that to stand up to the government forces would destroy their lives. So, the citizens have learned to turn from any and all disturbances. It's not worth being a witness. There have been rumors of this. General Khrushchev and a special squadron of elite men who are no longer men. But these soldiers have never seen anything like this before. The intel they have been given is horribly wrong. Hellspawns are supposed to do work alone. Never in their history have any of them ever banded together for a common cause. Until now. Now that the enemies are defeated, the group gets together to come up with a plan to reach Reaper, because it appears many different factions want to strip him of his powers. They believe they can use Plague Spawn as a bomb to blow through all the wolves and soldiers. Gunslinger begins asking each enemy if they know anything about Plague Spawn's whereabouts. If not, he snaps their jaw in half. Finally, one of the soldiers screams out, "I know!" Gunslinger gets the information he's looking for and blasts the soldier's head off. The group is in shock of how Gunslinger operates with no sense of remorse for life. Gunslinger looks over to the two girls and questions why 60 soldiers came looking for them, but She-Spawn quickly tells them to stand down and kick them out of the way. The group continues to disagree on many matters and seem to question Gunslinger's style and approach to things. Later that night they settle down and come up with a plan. Medieval Spawn walks up to the two young girls and asks them to see their hand so he could see what they've been through. She's alone, an orphan in a city that cares little to what happens to women. So, those like her band together, like a large punk band, fighting for a silver of decency. But eventually a spark needs to ignite the fire. But sometimes that spark doesn't start a fire, it ignites an inferno. While things burn, she hides with the other undesirables. That's why 60 military men came for her. She saw something she shouldn't have. So, she did what any frightened person would do. That's when she saw it, a creature, an animal, in human form, the one they called Plague Spawn. She saw him and where they had tried to imprison him. What none of them knew was that this thing was the original prototype for Hellspawn's uniform. But it had too many defects, it was supposed to be destroyed. Instead, it survived. Suddenly the team hears a noise. Redeemer flies out to scout. She-Spawn, if you can hear me, move those girls now, or everyone's gonna get slaughtered.